Hi, everybody. I'm Nicole Mahalski, and I want to introduce you to the Your Best Life Yet Summit, where we're going to look at all areas of your life, from home, business, or career, to even personal and relationships. Our expert guests are going to share with you some really great insights and strategies into how you can live your best life yet. Really allowing you to create more joy, time, money, and freedom in your life. I'm so excited to introduce you to today's guest speaker. Craig Ballantyne has been actually called one of the world's most disciplined men by his friends and even coaching clients. So welcome, Craig.
Thank you so much.
It's great to have you here.
Yeah, it's going to be real fun.
He's also the author of The Perfect Day Formula, How to Own Your Day and Really Control Your Life. Craig has been a contributor to Men's Health magazine for over 17 years, and he teaches his clients how to get more done, make more money, and still be home in time for dinner. Craig discovered his talent for helping stressed out executives and entrepreneurs achieve extraordinary results in every area of their life after overcoming his crippling anxiety attacks in 2006. During his struggles, he discovered the 5 pillars of success, which you can use to make more money, lose weight, find the love of your life, and overcome any obstacle that you might be facing in your life. Thanks for joining us today, Craig.
Yeah, no problem. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I think so. I asked Craig here today to share with us some of the insights that he has in his Perfect Day Formula so that you guys can really transform your lives and make a big difference. Really go after those goals and dreams that you have and be successful. So let's jump right in. Can you tell us how someone can improve their life by using your Perfect Day Formula?
Yeah, I'd say probably the biggest thing, and most people are going to be really surprised by this, is to do less. Do way less than you're trying to do right now. You're trying to cram 10 pounds of potatoes into a 5-pound bag, and it doesn't work. You just don't have time to do all of the things that you want to do. And so you have to slash, you have to cut back. Warren Buffett has a couple of great quotes. One of them is the difference between successful people and very successful people is that very successful people say no to almost everything. And he has another great exercise where he says, list down the 25 things that you want to do and then delete the bottom 20 and never think of them again. And so this is a man who's really successful. And obviously those are extremes. But if you take a look at the average person who's ambitious, you take a look at their daily schedule and they're trying to do too much. And it's only when you step back and try to do less better that you're going to have a better life.
That's so true. Trying to run a business and all those other things, our first natural instinct, I know mine was to try to do everything myself because I thought, well, I don't think anybody quite knows what's going on in my head, so I can just do a better job. But it's really not the case. It's when you can focus and put your best skills to use at what you really love to do and what you're really good at, that you're going to see that success, because you can let everything else go or hire somebody that can help you do that and create that more time that you're looking for in your day.
Yeah, absolutely. Take a look at Howard Schultz, right? Howard Schultz is the guy that started Starbucks. Now, Howard Schultz, I'm sure, is a perfectionist and he wants every Starbucks experience to be amazing. But you can't grow to, 30,000 locations or whatever it is by doing it all yourself. And so here are these big companies, and you have to take a look at them and think, you know what, if they can let go and grow, then I need to do it too. That's the perspective you need to take.
Absolutely. And once you do it, you're never going to go back. You're going to really enjoy that freedom and learn to look at what other things that you can let go of.
Absolutely.
So you talk about the 3 C's. Can you explain a little bit more to us what they are?
Yeah, 3C formula comes from ancient Stoic philosophy and an ancient philosopher named Epictetus. And he has a quote that was translated that goes like this: control what you can, cope with what you can't, and concentrate on what counts. And when I first read that, it really helped me reduce my stress and increase my success. But it also allowed me to use this and apply it over the course of the day. We can best control our mornings. That's when we control what time we get up, what we do, what we eat, the mood we're in, what time we get to work, all of this stuff. It's really under our control before the chaos of the world comes along later in the morning and in the afternoon. And then we learn to cope with that by planning and preparation. And then we do all of that hard work so that we concentrate on what counts in the evening.
I think that's a great philosophy and great rules to live by, which kind of ties right into the next question. is you talk about creating rules for your life. Why is that so important, and why do we really want to do that?
Yeah, it's a great question. And a lot of people are probably thinking, I don't want more rules. I've already got rules from the government, from my children's school, from the, homeowners association. Why do I want more rules in my life? And the answer is because when the rules are imposed upon us, we rebel. We're very rebellious. But when we put the rules on ourselves, the boundaries, the limits, we love it and we become more successful. And there's a couple of analogies I'd like you to use. And the first one is the iPhone that you probably have, or the Android, or whatever it is. And if you take a look at that phone, what makes it so effective? And the answer is the powerful operating system inside of it. And that operating system is based on rules. And if you have really powerful rules and excellent structure, you can become a high-performing machine just like your iPhone or your Android as well. So you have to have those structures and rules in place for how you perform. And that will set you free in life. And here's another analogy, that if you went and drove around your little town or city or wherever you live, you know that there's going to be stoplights or a stop sign at an intersection. Those are the rules of the road. And the rules of the road are put in there so that we don't have utter chaos. Because imagine if there were no stop signs or were no traffic lights. My goodness, everyone would be running into each other, and we wouldn't get to where we wanted to get to, and we wouldn't enjoy the freedom in our life. So you have to have that structure so you can have more freedom. It's a paradox, but it's powerful, and it will help you become that high performance, highly disciplined entrepreneur executive that you know you can be.
What a great strategy. I heard you bring up boundaries in there, and I think that could be something that a lot of us struggle with, is setting those boundaries. What a great way to do that is just look at them as rules that you have for your life so that you can set those boundaries and make the most out of your day, and really allow people to know where the limits are and what you're willing to do, what you're not willing to do.
Yeah, I think one of the most important boundaries that people can put on themselves is their boundaries with social media. What time of day do you start checking email? When do you keep yourself off of social media? And what time is the latest in the day that you're going to allow yourself to do it? Because I know that so many people watching us right now have at one point, said, oh, I'm going to check my email one more time, or I'm just going to go on Facebook one more time. And the next thing you know, it's 45 minutes later and they're late to bed, and they wake up late the next day and they're grumpy and cranky, and they have a very poor day because of what they did the night before, because there were no boundaries. And it's not just social media and email, it's alcohol, it's television, it's Netflix, it's all of these things. And so we must have boundaries in place in order to be high performers. Now, I'm not saying every Friday and Saturday night you have to have these really strict boundaries. I mean, we do want to live a little bit, but if you want to wake up on a Wednesday morning and be your best for a sales presentation, you have to follow your boundaries, your operating system, so that you become that high performer.
That's a great point. I know that I'm guilty of that. I think I'm just going to go check my email really quick. I'm kind of expecting one. Next thing you know, it's been a half an hour in the email. Then I'm like, well, there's some things on social media. I should get that post ready maybe for tomorrow. And then another couple hours goes by and you're like, where did the last 3 hours go?
Yeah, I mean, there's hardly anybody that's not sucked into that. I mean, I am as well. And in fact, that's why I started building the rules and the systems into place, because I'm probably weaker than most people. And I needed these boundaries to keep me out of trouble. And that was really important to me.
And I found that that was one of the biggest tools that I was able to implement to really structure my day quite a bit better. So you talk about the 5 pillars of personal transformation. Can you give us a few examples of these in action?
Right. So the 5 pillars of transformation, or success, as I call them, they came from my weight loss transformation clients. And it was because these people were so successful that I had to dig in deeper and see, what was working for them. And I found out that they had 5 things in place. They had better planning and preparation than ever before. They had professional accountability. They had positive social support. They had a meaningful incentive for change in their lives. And they had a big deadline. And when you have those 5 things in place, you can change any habit in your life. You can overcome bad habits. You can put new habits into place. You can find the home of your dreams. You can make more money. You can lose weight, whatever it is you want to do. It all comes down to having these 5 pillars in place, because they hold you up and make the foundation for your success.
Again, just more great tools that people need to put in place so that they can really make use of their day a little bit better, or actually quite a bit better. One of the things that I found really interesting in your work is you talk about you had anxiety, crippling anxiety in 2006, and you actually used these pillars to overcome anxiety. How did you do that? Because I know a lot of our listeners also suffer from anxiety.
Well, the funny thing is, I didn't realize that I used them until 2 years after. I had the anxiety in 2006, and I didn't discover the pillars until about late 2007 or early 2008 when I started doing my weight loss transformation contest in my business. And then as I looked back, I realized, you know what? I did better planning and preparation for my days. I put boundaries in place. I cut out too much alcohol and too much caffeine, so I no longer had the physical stress. And I had professional accountability. I hired yoga instructors and meditation instructors, and I paid them in advance, and I had the accountability that I had to show up in order to get my money's worth. And I had positive social support from friends who I could lean on in times of trouble. And I had a meaningful incentive, and anybody who's dealing with anxiety knows that meaningful incentive is just overcoming that bad feeling. So I was pushing and looking every day to overcome a rock or overturn the rocks that would help me to overcome the anxiety. And then finally, I had a big deadline in place in my business. I knew that there was going to be a lot of stress coming up because of a product launch that I had. And I had to get rid of my unnatural anxiety in order to be ready for the natural anxiety that would come from the positive product launch. And so that's what drove me to, again, overturn every rock that would help me overcome the anxiety. And it was through those 5 pillars that I was able to overcome it. It wasn't easy, but it worked. And that's when I realized, oh my goodness, this will work for anything.
You brought up a really interesting point. I heard you say accountability. And talking about that, I think that that's one of the biggest things that I've learned is that the more that I can be accountable to somebody else or even to myself, the more I can really change things. And it has a bigger impact on my life and really kind of that staying power too, when you can check in with somebody or check in with a mentor or a coach or whoever you have. Like for your example, as a personal trainer, the people going through weight loss, having that check-in with your personal trainer really keeps you on task and able to achieve those results by being accountable that way.
Yeah, because if you can have the greatest information in the world, but if you're not being held accountable to using it, it's almost like you don't have the information at all. And a lot of people just gather too much information and don't take action because there's no one holding their feet to the fire. So really, truly, one of the greatest components of success is accountability. It's kind of combined with that deadline. When you have a deadline, you have to take action. When you have accountability, you have to take action. With the deadline, you don't want to disappoint yourself in most cases, but with accountability, you don't want to disappoint somebody else. So your accountability partner, or preferably your coach, someone who's also going to give you expert advice, they have to be someone that you don't want to let down. You can't cancel on them, that you can't mess up and just say, oh, I don't really care about what you're going to say. You really have to be deeply invested in their opinion of you in order to get the most out of your accountability.
That's so true. And, setting up those appointments ahead of schedule and making sure that you show up for them, because you know that if you don't, that your coach is going to be on the other line waiting for you and you don't want to disappoint them for sure. I think accountability is one of the biggest things that people can bring into their life if they truly want to initiate some change.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the first things that people can do if they don't have a coach right now is simply public accountability. I mean, I highly encourage people to post stuff on Facebook and say, hey, I'm going to do this and I'm going to check in here every single day for the next 21 days. And people will rally behind you and support you. And you're not going to want to disappoint them because no one wants to be a hypocrite. So accountability is all about acting in accordance with what you say.
Absolutely. And I mean, Facebook is a great resource for that. There's all kinds of groups out there that you can find one that fits for you and really dive in and take action and be in that group and really ask for support and help. There's tons of people out there willing to do that. Mm-hmm. So you say, concentrate on what counts. How do we know what really counts for us? And how do we use that to create a vision for our life?
Well, that's something that I spend a lot of time on with people, and especially in the workshops that I do. We spend a lot of time figuring out what are your values, and then, as you said, creating that vision for somebody's life. And it's not until you know what really matters in terms of your family, your health, your wealth, and the experiences you want to have in your life before you can go in and start creating your rules or creating your perfect day schedule. You have to have the values and vision in place first. Because if you don't, then all of a sudden you're chasing the wrong things in life. So it really comes down to doing a lot of introspection and self-reflection, answering a lot of the questions that I have in my book, Perfect Day Formula, so that you can create that vision. And then you have a crystal clear idea of where you want to get to. And the path to success becomes a straight line. So that straight line to success is only available once you have figured all of that out.
And I think that's one of the things that a lot of people don't really spend enough time on. You know, working with people, you hear people say, oh, I want to make more money, or I want this big trip or holiday. But to me, those things aren't really what truly matters. And they're not what drives us or motivates us to achieve our success or achieve our goals. We really need to get right down to it, figure out what our vision is. And it's really tied to our values, and figure out what's going to motivate us to achieve those things.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying that they want to do things because of what they think other people want or what other people want to hear. But you're right, when you actually dig in, nobody does care about going to, Bora Bora or the Maldives. I mean, yeah, it'd be great if they could get there, but most people's bucket lists are not things they actually really want to do. And I think that having a bucket list is generally a waste of time and is only going to disappoint you in the end. And so again, you have to do that deep dive into what really matters. And for 99% of the people that I've ever worked with, it is their family and making sure that they are financially secure and that their children have, the future and the potential that, maybe they didn't have, or at least the best that they can provide. That's what really matters. And we need to get that in place first. But if you take a look at a lot of people's actions, they're often doing stuff that doesn't support what really matters to them. And that causes a lot of stress. As I say, it's a misalignment of your goals and your actions. And when there's a gap in between there, that gap causes stress because you're chasing shiny objects and you're not doing things that really, truly matter to you. And inside, you know it, you just don't really realize it up here.
That's so true. How have you used your vision to achieve exactly what you want in your life?
So in 2006, when I hired my first coach, the very first question he asked me on the very first call was, Craig, what do you want your business to look like in 5 years from now? And I told him at that time, I was just in the fitness industry. I said, I want to have a business like earlytorise.com, which helps people build their wealth, improve their personal relationships, and also improve their health. And he knew what it was because it's a very, very popular website. And we put together a plan for me to achieve it. Again, I knew that destination. And so we were able to make a straight line to success. And by doing that, I then went and followed what I call the law of action attraction, going out there and doing the things you need to do and attracting opportunity into your life. And by doing that, I was able to buy that business 5 years, 3 months, and 17 days later. So buying the business of my dreams almost exactly on plan and on track with my vision. So I know that your vision can come true. And the more specific you are, and the more true to your values you are, the more and better chance you are going to have of getting exactly what you want in life.
That's an amazing vision. And to have that manifest like 5 years out, I want to talk about that for a minute, because I heard you bring up the law of attraction. And I think a lot of people kind of have a misconception about that, where it talks about you have to be clear, do your I am statements, and you're going to manifest whatever you want in your life. But I know that so many people really leave out that key ingredient, which is action. You actually have to take the action to manifest that in your life if you're wanting to use the law of attraction.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, I wasn't really a big law of attraction person, but I know that when you know exactly what you want, then you will do the right things to get there. And then it's not really, any manifestation of anything. It's you going out and getting it. And it's a very pragmatic thing when you use that word action in law of action attraction.
Absolutely. So can you share with us, what was your number one biggest mistake that you've made in your career?
It was absolutely not having a coach soon enough. And so, as I mentioned, my first coach was 2006, but I could have hired a coach in 2003. And so I let 3 years go by, and that stopped me from helping as many people. It stopped me from writing my books earlier, and really held me back in a lot of personal development too. So that's the number one thing that I recommend everybody listening to this call does, is they get a coach. And, like if it's working with you, Nicole, then they need to start immediately, because that's what it's all about. That is the success that someone is going to have, is only when they have the professional accountability. And the coach gives you two things in life that your positive social support can't give you. It's expert advice and that hardcore accountability. And when you have that in place, you can achieve exactly what you want in life.
That's so true. You know, I did probably pretty close to the same thing. I put off hiring my coach for a while because I thought I can do this. I actually went to school for business, marketing and all that good stuff. And I thought, you know what, I think I have the background. I could probably do this on my own. I spent way more money on stuff that I didn't need or things that didn't turn out right, that if I had just sat down and really found a coach that was a good fit for me, I would have been ahead of the game probably 5 years sooner. So, you know, investing in yourself, it's an amazing thing. It's going to speed up the process and again, free up more time so that you can do the things that you want to do, because you'll learn a lot sooner what you need to do, what's the best course of action, and what's going to save you money in the long run too. And then being accountable makes you take action and actually do the things that you're trying to accomplish.
Oh, totally.
So what is one action step that our listeners can take today so that they can start gaining control in their life?
Get up 15 minutes earlier. Not hours earlier, just get up 15 minutes earlier than you normally do right now. Go down to your kitchen table with pen and paper before anyone else gets up in your house and work on your number one priority in life. Whether it's making more money, whether it's getting out of debt, whether it's finding the love of your life, whether it's getting back in shape, whatever it is, spend time 15 minutes a day, 6 days a week, working on your number one priority in life. That's 72 hours in a year of clear, uninterrupted thinking, and you're going to have massive improvements in life. You're going to reach so many of your goals, and you'll be able to have that law of action attraction work for you.
I think a lot of people think that, you know, they have to make really big changes or maybe even really big sacrifices to start seeing some things start to happen in their life, but it's really not. It's just taking those small steps that are going to have a bigger impact. Like you said, waking up 15 minutes earlier, that's nothing, because most people out there, I know I heard you should wake up at least an hour before or maybe 2 hours before you normally do and then start working. And that's can be very overwhelming to some people and kind of freaks them out. They're like, well, I don't think I can do that. So then they don't take that action. But 15 minutes, everybody can do 15 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. And the problem is with, jumping an hour early is your body physiologically will not respond to it well. It will reject it. And then after a couple of days, you'll have a couple of good days, and then the social jet lag will hit you and you'll be angry and you'll say, oh, this getting up early doesn't work because it's too much of a jump. It's like trying to tell a fat guy to stop eating pizza when he's been eating it 7 days a week and tell him to eat chicken and broccoli. That's not going to work. That's not going to work. And so you have to do it chunks at a time. And I know that this 15 minutes works because in 2003, I started doing that 15 minutes first thing in the morning, working on my online business, and it set me free within a year. And so, yeah, it does take work, and the law of action attraction comes into play when you know what you want and you do it even 15 minutes at a time.
That's so true. I know that you're a personal trainer as well and coach.
No, I'm not. I retired from that. I retired from that like a decade ago.
Maybe you could still give our audience a little bit of insight, because I know you talk about how important it is to really eat healthy. In some of your work, you talk about cutting out caffeine like 10 hours before you go to bed. What are some health, maybe exercise or tips that you can give the audience to help have a better day?
Yeah, and so I'm going to try and be as counterintuitive as possible. First of all, you don't have to work out. All you have to do is move and do stuff you enjoy. If you take a look at the people who have lived the longest in life, the blue zones, none of those people have ever used an elliptical machine. None of those people have ever seen an elliptical machine. The people that live to 105 years old in Sardinia or in Sicily or wherever it is, they don't know what those things are. In Okinawa, they laugh at that stuff. Like, why would anybody go and use one of those things? And so if you absolutely despise cardio, as you should in most cases because it's a general waste of time, you should not do that stuff. You should only do what you like to do. And yeah, you should do some resistance training. I would say probably 2 sessions of 15 minutes a week is more than enough for health benefits. And then from there, you should just not eat stuff in a bag or a box. You should eat stuff that has less than 5 ingredients. More importantly, you should try and eat 1 ingredient foods, which means you should have a meal of something like fish and potatoes or rice, and then green vegetables and olive oil. That's a real way of eating, the Mediterranean style. So really being fit, healthy, slim, and energetic is so simple, so simple. And so that's what I want people to understand. Not only is it simple, it's enjoyable.
That's great advice. And I think you're right. It does go kind of against what we're told out there, that it needs to be hard. You need to be in the gym every day. But if you can just make those simple changes, like exercise a few times a week, doing something that you love to do, and just eat smart, like make stuff yourself that doesn't come from the pre-made supermarket aisle, or again, like you said, the stuff in the box. And it's going to improve your health, which is going to improve your activity during the day, give you more energy, and make those changes much more enjoyable for you to make as well. You're not going to find it so stressful.
No, and I'm going to say something else that is really counterintuitive as well, especially to women who have been told that they have to do their own cooking, and if they don't do their own cooking, that they're less of a mom or less of a woman. Forget about it. You don't have to do your own cooking. There's so many meal planning services out there right now, meal delivery services. And even if you can't find one, if you live in a big enough town, you can go on Craigslist and probably find somebody who will do this for you. And you will just ask them to make the meals according to what you need, what's good for you and your family, or whether it's just yourself or whatever, and get these meals delivered to you. If you're starting a business, you don't have the luxury of cooking and shopping and doing all this stuff, and you shouldn't be guilted into doing it. If you want to be a high performer, if you want to go from a corporate job and switch over to a $100,000 a year income as a coach, or something else in your life, or you just want to be a high performer in general, you need to cut out the stuff that is not a good use of your time. You weren't put here to, peel potatoes. You were put here to make a huge impact on the world. And if not cooking saves you a bunch of time and allows you to help more people, then by all means, don't be guilted into it because your mother-in-law says that you have to make dinner 7 days a week.
That's so true. I mean, a lot of us do things just because we feel guilty that we should be the one at home making dinner for the kids. But you know what? Just hire that stuff out if you can, and use your time more valuably. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with us today?
Just going back to the things that we talked about with the values and the vision. At the end of the day, at the end of your life, what you're really going to matter are people and experiences. So the people that you spend your time with, your friends, your family, the like-minded positive people that you meet on social media. And I'm a big fan of social media. I think social media can be one of the most positive places in the world. You can easily design your social media feed so that you don't see any negativity, that all you see is positive posts, and all your connections and interactions are positive. And so and then meeting those people in person at seminars, or, just watching these summits, this is what's going to really help you thrive. And then making memories with the people that you love is also very important. And it's far more important than money or stuff. So yeah, you should have a good income. You should help a lot of people, and that way you will have a good income. But remember to take time for the people and experiences that matter the most.
I can agree more. I truly believe that it's all about experiences that we can have, and sharing those with other people. That's going to make the most out of our life. So everybody, I want to invite you to go check out Craig's free gift to you. It's at craigballantyne.com/free gift, and all his other great resources that he has available for you guys to take advantage of on his website. So be sure and check that out. We're going to post the links for you in the email that you received today. And again, Craig, I want to thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be here with us. You've given us tons of great tools and strategies that we could use today to start improving our lives and business and really taking it to the next level. So we appreciate that so much.
Happy to help.